Rise for the flag. You're going to present or you're present?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. All right. We've got a form here, so I'd like to call to order the February meeting for the Romeo Downtown Development Authority on Wednesday, February 7th, 2018, 7 p.m. Lisa, will you give us a roll?
Seidel,
Present.
Humphreys,
Can't say it the way Ken does.
Siglo,
Yes.
Arnett, Chaika,
Here.
Hayes,
Here.
Poznanski,
Here.
Kraft,
Yeah.
Parker. You have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, public forum. Not tonight.
Josh,
Can I get an approval of the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion by President Siglo. Do I have a second? Second by Poznanski. All in favor? Aye. Next, we need approval of the November 1st, 2017 meeting minutes. It's been a while since we met.
Is that our last meeting, seriously?
I'll make a motion to approve as is. It's good to me.
Hey, Amy was here then too.
I have a motion by Poznanski to approve the minutes, second by President Siglo. All in favor? Aye. All right, next up, Carol is not here today, but she did pass along the treasurer's report that we have in front of us. You guys want to take a second to look that over? Make sure everything looks up to date. Which one's that?
85.
Bills too.
Well, because you got the
That's-
$67,000 rebound check or whatever you call
Lisa, do you know what the first bank card for Harvest Days is for $564.79?
That was for part of the, like the coloring books and the little toys we put in the bags and,
Just
yeah, it's just
miscellaneous
miscellaneous for the prize
things,
bags,
okay.
yeah. Yeah, that's what that was.
Is that November, December, and January phones?
Yes.
Or is that February?
Yes.
Is that including the, wait, December, January, February?
Yes, that's December, January, February, yep.
Alright. Do I have a motion to approve the treasurer's report and pay the bills?
Yeah, I'll make a motion. Go ahead.
I'll approve the paid bills.
Your second, his motion?
Sure.
No. Whatever.
Got a motion by Poznanski, second by President Siglo. Lisa, can you do a roll?
it. See what decisions
Yes.
you made? You just did.
Poznanski,
Yes.
Siglo,
Yes.
Chaika,
Yes.
Kraft, Seidel,
Yep.
Hayes.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next, we have Lisa Hall with the DDA Director report.
Well, it's kind of all summarized into one big thing. November, routine stuff, helped Amy with banners, Amy and Tad with banners. We ordered some replacement lights. I started booking entertainment for 2018 Harvest Days. You know, did just some general cleanup and straighten the office up from all the Harvest Days not being there. Then in December, we did the banner reveal, which was fantastic. We had a great turnout. We had a big turnout. It was huge. The entire chamber, the whole backyard was just full of kids. It was a great day. Really great day. We had hot chocolate and cookies for the kids. I think it turned out really well. Everybody was really happy with the banners. Later in December, I met with Ray to talk about flowers. In January, I've talked with Christine about the St. Baldrick's event, and she asked me to contact the businesses and make sure everybody knew when it was.
Are
I
you
made
getting posters to pass out for that?
Yeah, I've got to stop and pick them up from her, and I'm gonna go and pick them up. She's got a few other things she's gonna give me, and I'm gonna take them and pass them out. I made some calls to some of the other DDAs regarding, like I called at one point in time, because there was some questions about, you know, a speaker system downtown, and how much should Rochester pay for their speaker system, because it would be nice to have music. Rochester paid $80,000 for their speakers, which is, they're nice.
They're quite
but
larger than
they're
us.
quite larger than us, yeah, quite a bit.
Probably more of them.
Yeah.
It's like 3 blocks, but they're on every pole, you know, and they're all weatherproof, and they're the same color as the pole, and so, you know, there's a lot to it. I did get an email from Brandon at DTE, and they are finally working on putting us together a price with metal poles, but they're gonna come back and give us another price with an alternative pole, which is gonna be all concrete. And he said it would be exactly the same, but probably come back cheaper. So I said, well, when you have them ready, just send them to us.
Do the concrete ones, do they get damaged by hanging the pots on them and
Nope.
stuff?
No?
Seems
He
like
said they'd
those-
actually be more durable than the metal ones.
Oh, really? It seems like those metal bands would dig into the concrete.
No, he said they'd actually be better than the metal ones.
What is the price? Is that
Well, it's,
the difference
Well,
between
it's-
a fancier one?
well, it's gonna be,
I thought they were
The-
free.
well, those, you know, the ones that are, like the ones that are south and north of
Yeah.
town, the smaller ones, that's a DTE standard pole. And they don't recommend hanging the planters on those. So the poles they're looking at would be similar to what we already have, but would be able to withstand the weight of the plants and all the stuff that we're gonna put on them.
Yeah, I'm saying, is it the price difference? Is that what the quote is?
Yeah, that's what it is, that's what it is,
Between
yeah,
what their cost is and what the upgrade would be.
right, so that's what it is, because
Concrete is free. They're installing it, right?
that, well, if we were to work with DTE, those poles would be theirs. So
Right.
it would be for the pole, we would, you know, purchase the pole, or however they do it, lease the pole, however you wanna, whatever you wanna call it. But once they put up the poles, they handle all the maintenance of the poles. So if the pole gets damaged, they change it out. If the bulb needs to be replaced, they change it out. If it needs to be painted, they paint it. I
So we
mean,
can probably expect those numbers next month.
I would say
or
next month,
meeting,
next
at the meeting.
month, yeah, I would say so, you know, somewhere in there. Met with Ray again, and just, he wanted to make sure, you know, the colors, because there's limits to what he can get and what he can't get, so I said, yeah, you know, you're the flower guy, I trust your judgment. Talked with him a little bit about watering of those areas that we had planted last year, that the landscapers did, because that was not included in our watering bid, because that bid came in long before. And I talked to him a little bit about, I said, well, what if I go and water the alleys? Can I swap that out with you? I'll go water the alleys if you'll water these spots. And he says, we'll negotiate. So that's where we're at. Then, you know, in the last couple of weeks, I spoke with Lisa McLean regarding the house, and I contacted a couple of roofing companies. And then you can see the rest of it there. Just pretty much everyday stuff. Nothing exciting.
Question.
Yes,
Did you say you're contacting somebody for entertainment?
yeah. Yep.
You really think we need entertainment?
For Harvest Days?
Yeah.
Something.
Something. Yeah, we need something.
Music, just, I mean, if we just have everything in the streets and it's just quiet, it's kind of boring.
Well, it's sort of bad. I look at it the other way around. You see somebody you haven't seen in 20 years and you can't talk to them because the band's too loud. If you know
I
what I
don't think
mean.
it was, I think it
this
was
year
pretty
was.
decent this year.
Well, this year we didn't really have a chance to really figure it out because of the rain.
Bands
Yeah.
sounded like they were underwater.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean, though?
Right.
Sometimes it's too damn loud and you don't, you can't talk to anybody.
Well, and we've also got the option too, that if we work with the Masonic, we can always put the band inside the Masonic.
Or if we actually had these speakers sound system,
Right,
then
right.
we could
Yes.
have just background music.
All right, so, we're just kind of, like, I booked the ventriloquist again, I booked the magician guy again, the balloon guys are already booked.
Okay.
Our hope, last year, our hope with the entertainment was it was gonna be kid-friendly, so we would get the kids out there, it
Right.
was kid songs, dancing, they
Right.
would have more fun, it would be interactive. Obviously,
Where do we
I
get
don't
the
know if
Peach
that really.
Festival sound system from?
I think they
They
hire
hire
them
them.
every year they bring it in. Yeah, somebody does it.
And then is St. Baldrick's going on Main Street again, or is it going down Alliance?
Main
It's
Street.
on Main Street.
What do you guys think about that?
See, I mean,
So far, I think it's all right.
but you probably have you probably had a different perspective than we did from.
As long as it's
where
not,
you were
as
at.
far as, my only concern was before was it wasn't connected to anybody's bar, and it wasn't last year. Didn't show favoritism to anybody's bar
Well, I
last
don't know
year,
about
so.
favoritism, I just think, I always thought it was better down at the Lions.
Yeah, I like it down, I like.
Get a lot more
in the
positive
town,
feedback
yeah.
from downtown, but I know where you're coming from. It's a little more contained down there. And we didn't hear anything bad coming out of it.
I mean, they're spending a ton of money for just putting a tent up where they could, but I don't know that the negotiations with the Lions Club either.
Yeah, they store stuff in that, which I recently found out, they store campers, cars over winter. So they have to completely empty it out, have everybody that stores stuff come, move it all out, and then move, it actually,
So it costs the Lions money
yeah,
to do it.
and I didn't know that either.
Hmm.
I didn't know
they
that.
did that.
I guess somebody told me that before I forgot about it.
There's a lot involved over there too.
All right.
Hopefully it goes well this year. Was that everything, Lisa?
Yep, that's everything.
All right, thank you. Next up, this was supposed to be on last month's agenda, but we didn't have the quorum, so it got moved to this month's. We have funding requests from the Romeo Foundation for Educational Excellence of $3,000 for the Storybook Christmas banners and brackets. Amy is here today. If you guys have any questions, she did send me a breakdown. I asked her last month what the total cost of the banner project was, and it worked out to about $14,400. They had total revenue from sponsorship of, I'm sorry, you don't mind if I share?
No, go ahead.
$62.50 in revenue from sponsorship, which ended up costing the foundation about $8,100 for the project itself. So they came back to us with a funding request of $3,000 to help. I know we're all big supporters of it and have been for some time. The brackets are staying in the village. The
And they
banners-
were $3,600.
$3,600 was just the cost of the brackets to, there were additional holes that we covered this time around, and, Amy, Lisa, Tad, they were all out there hanging banners and doing a lot of the legwork too, so, that's what we have on the table right now. You guys wanna ask any
What-
questions, or?
Where would it come out of? What?
Carol mentioned earlier that we do have $7,700 in our marketing budget, which it could come from. Keep in mind, we don't have to necessarily fund the entire amount either. We can fund a portion of it if that's all that the budget allows for. But there is, after all is said and done, we have $7,700 in the marketing budget, no real events
there's nothing
coming up
That was
before.
supposed to go to.
I would like to just strike it from the agenda. I missed that beginning because it's not legal for a government entity to give to a charitable contribution.
Well, that was part, Lisa,
Where
did you
is,
look into
I
that?
did look into that, and I can't find that wording anywhere. I looked through the DEA Act, I looked in the Tifa Act, and I looked at the
Well, I was
ordinance of the
talking to Amy
village.
before this, and so I didn't get a chance to talk to our attorney about it, and before we approve anything, if you could wait another month, I'd like to make sure that it's okay.
I can wait. The only reason I asked was because of the brackets, and the brackets stay in the village. I mean, we're not asking for a sponsorship per se. It was just the brackets basically was the thing. I mean, we're doing the banners again in May. It's all gonna be spring, K through 12. It's,
Can we buy used brackets from them? If we can't support it, can we buy those brackets?
I'm sure there is. I didn't get to talk to legal counsel
Okay,
about it.
all right.
Can it wait till?
Which is
are you
fine.
okay with waiting until next month?
I'm in no rush.
And
That's
then
the
I
only
would-
reason I asked, and
I'm a huge supporter of
I
it.
agree, I know.
Well, we all are. Let's just make sure that we're
Yeah.
dotting our i's and
No,
crossing our
that's fine.
t's. That's
Well,
all.
and it would help for the future too, because I can't think of any other funding request that's come across our table that hasn't been from a charitable or nonprofit. I
Maybe
mean,
chamber?
Chamber,
Chamber.
I mean, that's money for the Art and Wine Walk and other events, and even,
It's not
the
a charity.
MRP.
It's not like given to the Lions Club or given to, you know, just 'cause it's not a Lions Club or the Masonic Temple or Leader Dogs of the Blind, anything, you know, it's, let me just check into it.
So let's
I
get the
promise you, I'll get the clarification on it and I'll get back with you. We'll figure it out.
And see if we can take the avenue if we are, if we find.
Or we just buy the brackets. If we just buy the brackets and or
Yeah, I mean, I
the
could give
DDA's
you
brackets, whatever it may
Right.
be,
the
let me
receipt for
just,
the brackets and.
just so we're on
Then
top
it's
of
not,
it.
then it's not as.
I'm asking.
Which is, okay, yeah.
Okay, so
Check
we're
that as well.
we're gonna know by next meeting what the exact, what we can and can't do.
Right.
We just need some clarification on that before.
Exactly.
We just like
Okay.
someone in the audience, so we're just gonna keep
Just keep it coming.
Yeah,
Keep it-
yeah.
I won't ask for money again, I promise. We have a great sponsorship in place now. I mean, we asked the businesses downtown, we gave them all a letter for $75. And 90% of them, I mean, easy. They just wrote the check and we gave them little, you know, plaques that said thank you, and it went well. And we had the big sponsors on the bottom, and we did put the
Did
DDA
you get
logo.
just the Main Street ones, and do you get all the downtown?
Well, Carol emailed it out to the email that she had. We went into the downtown ones.
Because I've never seen one. I've never seen,
Really?
yeah.
What?
Give me your email. I'll make sure you get it.
Yeah, I'm just saying, we've never seen one. I've never seen anything come our way. Unless my brother-in-law pitches.
Oh,
it.
you're saying for the
Or like
car
a
wash.
request, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
And it's it's downtown, but it's
I'll
not,
hand deliver it.
it's not retail.
Yeah, no, there
Probably,
were.
I bet you it's
They
just.
sell water, I guess.
Yeah. Maybe, we should probably have a better email list.
I'm
too,
probably
of
the
all
only oddball that's like that though, right?
And
There's
with it
probably
being
not very
school,
many
we
that.
could I mean, it's Washington all the way down there too. There's a lot of businesses to reach.
Yeah, we got a lot of them, and a lot of parents actually this time when they came to the reveal said, "We'll give you money." I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll take it. 10 grand's a lot, but we like to do it, so it's good. And we got big sponsors to help us out. I mean, all the car dealerships gave us money and
Very cool.
worked out well.
Well,
I
don't
think.
talk too much or
So
tell
do
me
we have
look
a,
into
do we
it.
have a motion?
He'll look into it.
Do we
I'll
have a
make sure.
motion then for this, or?
I would just
We're gonna
say,
table
let's
it?
just table it.
All
Let's
right.
just table it.
Table it next
Yeah, I
month.
don't think we can make a motion.
All right, so we'll see you next month.
Let me know when the meeting is, and I will be here.
You
Thank
don't
you.
even have to,
March
if you
7th
can't make it, we've got to call it.
Yeah.
on the bottom.
I can
Yeah,
make
we,
it, I
I
will
think,
make
I don't
it.
think anybody has
March
any questions at this point, it's just gonna be clarifying. We know all the details, so it's
Right.
not,
So if you can't
can't
make
make
it,
it,
we'll
it's,
Okay. All right.
we'll
Thanks,
still
guys.
write your
thanks,
name
Amy.
down.
I appreciate it. See you.
Bye.
Aye.
Alright. Committee reports, we don't really have any active committees at this point, do we? Not for now. Nothing under unfinished business, which moves us to the fun part of the night. Under new business, item A, Hans House purchase opportunity. The building in question is 129 West Lafayette. I've talked to most of you on the board. This kind of just came up in the last 2 or 3 weeks. This is very new. You know, Randy and I met with Lisa McLean from the bank, who actually owns the property. And we basically said we need a number to go back to the board with. You know, best and final. They're not willing to let it go for less than what they paid, which is $50,000. So we have,
For a dollar.
what's that?
It was if you moved it.
If you move it, but if it's gonna stay there, then basically, It was brought up that the DDA could potentially purchase the home, renovate it, and bring it back up to its,
Habitable
we,
glory.
it's glory days, there you go. There's an engineering report that Lisa emailed out earlier from Morrow Engineering, basically stating that the house is not salvageable. It should be torn down. That was their recommendation. I know Randy walked through it last week. I didn't have a chance to. Megan, have you been through
I
it?
haven't.
The HDC has been through
The
it.
HDC has been through it. Lisa, you walked through it. I don't know. There's some pictures in the engineering report.
Who recommended that the DDA purchase it?
Your board.
It was brought up at the village meeting, and Bob said, what about the DDA? And then he took it a little farther.
Obviously, we couldn't purchase it on our own because we don't have the funds for it. But the thought process was if we could request money from the village board. I know we do have some money coming to us from the sale of the Mussey Street property.
So is the 50,000 non-negotiable?
Yes.
And
That's
they're,
50,000
yes, they're
instead?
not, they're, that's why we met.
To Ted's point, they said that if you're gonna move it, you can have it for $1 and they'll pay half the moving cost to save it. If it's staying on their property, it's 50 grand.
How much does it cost to move it?
Well, you gotta find a place to move it to.
The lot,
Right.
finding the lots probably
Probably
hard.
10 to 15.
She said
12.
15, I think, was the number, 15 to
But
20, to move it.
even with, I mean, I think everybody who I've talked to about it has pointed out that the best part about the house is the porch, you know?
You can rebuild that, but that would be really expensive too.
I think it'd be more than moving the house, to be honest
Oh,
with you.
yeah,
from
to
the-
number
from
all
the-
the boulders and put them.
To have a
back
true
where they go.
stonemason.
Right.
Does the porch deteriorate really bad?
The,
Plus, it doesn't look like it.
Does that price come with them fixing it up to code?
We're buying that's as is.
no,
So
That
they
house-
Purchasing the house
bought it
as
for
is for
50, let it deteriorate. and
What the engineering firm say it costs to put it back together?
they didn't give
They
us.
didn't, they just basically said,
Demolish it.
right, there's,
So we,
What's this 10 grand? What's this 10 grand? is?
hold on, that's just, that, let me walk through. This is just me sending a note to Zach after we went through it. And my thoughts on the engineering report, it's really one dude's opinion. There's no facts in there, there's no, he just says it should be torn down because this, and this. But I went through it. The foundation is, I mean, I'm no expert either, but I've done it enough. I mean, I look at it, like Megan said, and a lot of people said it's better than the one their house is on, they're living in. It was straight, it was solid, it needs to be tucked. Yeah, there's a crack probably here or there, but it's solid. The house hasn't shifted at all since it's been sitting there. So the home's solid. The floors are uneven, but find an old house in Romeo that doesn't have uneven floors. They're all uneven, but you gotta come up to a certain code, right? If you're gonna have it,
Yeah.
public access to it, right? If your floor does that, whatever, but if it's accessible public, there's things that have to be done there. I just kinda went through and like you said, Mike, the front porch looks good, but there's like some big cracks going up the front. So I don't know if you gotta take that front porch, the flat work off and rebuild it. Well, that's gonna be probably 5-10 grand without trying, right?
How long has it been since the coffee shop's been there?
10
It's 10
years.
to 12.
Yeah, we were trying
I
to
didn't
guess
even know
that.
there was a cup. People
Yeah.
told me about it, so.
So all I did is I
40.
just kind of went through, and Kat doesn't have a copy of this, I just went through and kind of, okay, let's say 50 grand for the building, 10 grand to fix the porch, figuring roof, gutters, soffit repair all the way around. I'm thinking, I mean, my neighbor did their house and they just had a roof put on, it was 15. So I'm thinking 28 to 30 grand to do all the soffit rebuilds, gutters, downspouts. Threw a number, I said windows and doors, somewhere 14 grand. I'm just kind of going by estimates that I've gotten. And Ted, you can probably, and then, paint and siding repair, I figured 18 grand. I mean, I happen to know Cairo paid just to paint his house, and his was in great shape, so. Foundation work, I said 7 grand tuck work. And these are no scientific numbers, they're just,
I think you're close.
Yeah,
I think you're close.
we gotta do emergency exit, right? So you gotta have an exit from upstairs, you gotta rebuild that back porch. parking lot, and then there's no HVAC system in the place at all. It hasn't been turned on in 10 years, so I came up with somewhere around 150 grand, and then what Zach and I were basically saying is, I'm not stepping into this for anything short of 250, because that's all the outside. You still gotta get the inside painted and put a kitchen in there, some.
Plumbing, electrical, has to be up to
Plumbing
date,
and put-
immediately has to be
Right.
up to date, the
So
code.
I'm just kind of looking at, getting the house up to snuff, and, people have made comments, well, you can go to Paramount and ask them for a deal. You can, but we're not committed to that yet. We're not gonna
We have to
sign
know
up
the
for
numbers that
something.
we're going
If
for.
someone wants
A
to give
hard
us a
number,
deal,
need a hard number.
if someone wants to give us a deal later, then we'll work with the village and give them back some money. If we get the whole thing done for 100 grand less than we thought,
And we don't even, there's, anybody who's ever done anything to a house knows that there's gonna be something unforeseen that comes up.
Double whatever
mentioned
you
half
just
the
said.
plumbing,
Exactly,
less
take those
than-
numbers.
What's their sewer line?
So-
Right.
Our goal is to flip it or to do something with it?
Our goal would be to do something with it. At that point, we would own the property. Realistically, 2 parking spaces, did she say? 2 to 3
Two,
parking
two
spaces.
parking spaces.
I thought originally why they didn't fix it up was because they could use it for parking.
Well, that's what they
Well,
want. They want it gone
they
so
want
they
it-
can use it for parking.
Right.
So how are they agreeing?
This all began with Nate Bartholomew making a complaint against him.
But are they agreeing they would sell it
So
to you?
they're-
Yeah,
and
they-
turn it
that's
over
when the
to you?
issue started with, they started coming in for permits to, Hans started coming to the village of office of Romeo to ask for permits for demolition. In other words, they're not putting a dime into it. If they're putting a dime into it, it's gonna be to make it a parking lot. So that's when this issue started. Bob brought up of saving it, maybe the DDA would want it.
How long does it take?
I do
for that
not
go
wanna
through
see-
Before they demo it?
I'm not sure.
They could,
I
I mean,
think they're-
realistically, even if we voted to say, yeah, we'll buy it, they could still tear it
They're
down.
they're
next
going in
week.
front of the HDC tomorrow to ask permission for demo,
But
and if
that's-
they vote no, they're going in front of the village on Monday to ask for demolition.
So, but at the end of the day, it's, if there's an opportunity, do we want to be the ones to take that on and say, let's find a way to fix it? So let's say it does cost $250 grand all in. Is that a good investment? If it costs $250,000 for us to carry that, there's no exit strategy for that house. There's
As the
never gonna
village
be a way to
president of
say it.
Romeo, I do not want to put one hardworking Romeo tax dollar into that house.
Well, it's a salvageable home.
I'm not saying that it's not, but
But on the-
not for the village of Romeo. The Hans's people have said you could buy it for $1 and they'll pay for half of the move for 12 years now, and nobody's taken them up on it.
Right.
Someone made a complaint to tear it, to fix it up. They're not gonna fix it up.
Well, they have
I
to
don't,
do-
do I wanna see the house torn down? No. Do I think the house is a beautiful home? Yes. But I'm not putting one penny of Romeo tax dollars into it.
Isn't it-
So
some-
Mike wants to fix up his house, so what stops him from coming to the DDA and asking for money to fix up his house?
Well, this becomes a village property.
Yeah, I mean,
It
it's,
becomes owned
Yes.
We're not
owned
just-
by the village.
we're not going through and paying for the
We're not
the
fixing
fixes
Mike's
so
house.
that.
Is this the best return?
This is an investment
Is this the
for
best
us, right?
return for the village of Romeo tax dollars?
This
So
turns
that's what we'd be
into,
going to do, is ask the village of Romeo to
No,
supplement it.
that's exactly what we're doing. We're asking for that. We think it's a,
Should've been asked 12
whatever
years
happens to this building, whatever we
Yes.
decide, whatever,
Should've been
if we do buy
a long
it,
time ago when the place
and
was
whatever we
nice.
decide to do,
Then
whether
it
we
would've
flip
been
it or
paid
turn it into a business or whatever, does the DDA get the proceeds from that?
I don't think it's
I would-
an option to flip. I think it's,
Well, we could, I mean, at some point, I don't think it would just be our property. It
It's
definitely, if we
income
chose
property
to.
for the DDA.
It-
It
but
would
if-
be a way for us
If
to
we
make more
chose
money.
to sell the
So we
house.
can
Are we
flip it
looking
and
for a
make money
motion
and put
on
that
this
money
issue, or is
in.
it just discussion? What are we looking for?
Well, basically what it is we have to go into it with if we're going to go into this saying that we are gonna take Hans Bank up on their offer, basically, to take it over for $50,000, we're gonna have to have an all-in price to go and request funds from the village at that amount that we think is feasible.
And what's our
to
all-in
complete the
price at
project.
this
we're
moment?
saying
$250,000.
Do we get
Plus.
comps? from-
Personally, I think we're a little short.
Do we
Yeah,
get
just
any
my
comps from
personal
other
I would
houses?
say
from
plus,
over
There's,
double
they
it.
ran, there's really nothing to compare it to, unfortunately. There's nothing, they tried running comps and there's nothing that
I'm not done with my house yet, so I can't tell you what I have into it total. I wish Mr. Parker was here because he just finished up his, and I know it was, he told me that it was a lot more than he expected.
Well, it costs more to renovate than it costs to build.
Yes, but I mean,
That's
so
what the
I just think
so,
that,
I mean, 300, I mean,
I think 3+, personally.
the thing
I
is,
would
what
agree
we're
with
not
you.
gonna do is we're not gonna put granite this and
I
granite
say, it
that.
doesn't need to be
You know,
renovated to
we're-
top of the line, it needs to be
Right.
brought up
What?
to code and.
Then what are you gonna do with it?
Nice.
Why can't we get
Well,
somebody
you
to
have to
go
redo
really
the,
take
if
a
you have to
good look
redo
at
the
it?
electric, you have
Well,
to tear down all
Give
the
us a solid price
plastic.
on what it would take to actually do
You
everything.
could.
What, I mean, we started,
I mean,
Lisa
it's,
did get some
you
numbers.
can't have a public building with, I don't know what's in it. I'm
I
assuming
ran all
tubing,
my
I'm
new
assuming
wiring.
tubing and
No, I think
tubing,
you're-
what's that called, electrical
Yeah.
stuff.
I ran all my wire through my plaster
Now
walls.
that
You can do it.
yeah.
Just think it costs you more.
We
You
did
can-
holes
right.
and we snaked it for.
Well, let me ask
They tear
this.
Costs you more.
Does the
Or takes
village,
more
I did
time.
does the
personally.
village of Romeo, we have 2 people on our board who sit on the village board. Does the village of Romeo even have $250,000
If you came and
to
asked for
give us?
250, I would give you 250. If you came and asked for what you needed now, and then as our budget goes to the next year, what do you need now? With
But I'm
this
not
year,
gonna
we're
do
gonna
that.
tackle this.
Because then, so then we might have a project that's half completed with no way to finish it.
It's all
I'm
in.
not gonna take it on for
Yeah,
that.
it's all in.
It's either we're asking for, I mean, anybody can put a motion on the table. If you say.
I would make a motion to
approve-
not purchase the Hans house for the Romeo DDA,
A motion to not take the request forward.
to not purchase it for $50,000.
To do
You
it
know,
now.
in years past, the guy did spend $1, I think what it was, from the Catholic Church house, and he moved it.
Right.
This has been on the.
I don't
for 13
honestly
years.
believe that there was a lot of work put into trying to find a place to move it. I never saw it advertised anywhere, but that's not why we're here today.
Right.
We don't care about, I don't want to say we don't care about the neglect, but we're not responsible for that. We're not responsible that they didn't sell it, we're not this, we're not, it's in front of us now, like
Well,
Matt said, it's
That's my
we have a
motion. You
motion on the
second it or
table
not?
to reject the purchase opportunity by President Siglo. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Chaika. Lisa, will you do a roll?
You want any more discussion on it? You can still talk about it.
I mean, come on, what are you gonna, let's think about, what are you gonna do with it?
I-
You spent $300,000 into it, what are you gonna?
Well, how do we know it's 300,000?
We
How come
don't, we
can't-
don't. It could be much less. but
All right, how come we
want-
can't, like, wait and see what the actual price is? and
Because
then-
there's not, because guess if we wait, it's gone.
So, we got what, today and then it's gone?
Today.
Well,
Yesterday.
we've got, then it has to go to the village. At that point, the next step is for it to go to the village, and even at that point, let's say that the village does approve it, council can still reject the offer. There's nothing saying that this isn't we don't have a purchase agreement.
Well, I'm thinking he spent the last 12 years not doing anything, because he had one thing that he was looking forward to, was making that a parking lot.
Agreed. We're trying to save the house, we're
This
trying to
was-
keep it.
It was
part
put
of the
on
village.
it was put to our board by, and we fit the role of that. If somebody's going to, HDC does not have money. They cannot purchase the home and this is part of what we're here for, and it's up to us to decide.
From a historical viewpoint, if we just keep tearing down these houses, which there's already been 2 or 3 torn down,
You can't
that
go back.
didn't look like, right. So if we tear this one down now, this is downtown, then we're gonna lose that historic eventually.
It's
People are
one of
just
the-
gonna- yeah.
it's one of the few
There's
that's in
really
the
only
city.
5 more houses in town that need to be torn down. 5
For
or
now,
6.
until
For now,
somebody
until
like
someone
Hans
else
buys one and
neglects one,
neglects it, and then we, and then.
You-
we
and
forget.
what is
It's
that?
not necessarily
purchase?
neglect on purpose, it's, some people, there's one on a street that's, the people just didn't have the money to keep it
Yeah,
up.
but
Well, that's
eventually it
their
comes down
fault.
to whether we wanna stay
But-
historical as a village or not.
This one's a little different
Doesn't
too
it?
because it is in
It's
the
our
central
district.
business.
Well,
It
I
falls
guess, but is it
into-
up to the people, the tax dollars to keep that up?
Well, I guess here's
It's
my,
up to the
here's,
people that were voted into it to make a decision of what we want to do.
well, and here's my other question about it too is where do you go to combat things like this happening in the future where it doesn't go 10 years before there's something, if we're, you know, any home of value, if somebody decides to do this, I mean, is it gonna go 10 years before anybody what's the enforcement? What's the, how do you
Well,
keep
and
that?
on the flip side of it is if Romeo wants to be successful, we need more parking. I mean,
Tear
Yeah,
down
that's not-
historic houses is good. Tear down my car wash if you want parking.
And we've talked
Well,
about,
seriously. But I mean,
That is
Rochester
no
tore down historical homes. They tore down homes, they were historical, they made parking.
Yeah, but
Not only did they
Rochester's
make
not
parking-
historical anymore.
Not only did they make, yeah, they are, they have
Where?
historical homes in there.
I mean, it's,
I mean, did
it's
they,
scattered.
they made parking structures, not
Then
even
we
parking
buy the
lots, they
bank,
made
'cause the
parking
bank actually
structures.
will give us enough parking spaces.
but
if
we've
that's
got,
what we wanted.
but that's out, I think that's outside of our budget, but even, we
If
have
we're
talked
gonna
about
ask
acquiring property in
Romeo
the
for
past.
money, I would rather ask it to tear down, to buy those houses that I talked about off of Bailey Street, next to the parking lot, to make more parking for the future.
But who's to say
Or-
we can't,
or
who's to say we
Zaco's,
can't do
or-
that too?
or-
That's, those are
Or
homes that.
the old funeral
homes
homes
that
behind the
could
police
be-
station.
If we
And
tear
we
down
have
the
more
house, how
parking.
many more parking spaces do we get?
We don't get any.
We
And
would,
that-
we wouldn't get any.
If they're gonna tear it down anyways, I'd rather buy it for 50 and own those parking spaces. I'd still rather buy it for 50 and us own those spaces than to then, if
I
the
mean,
village says
there-
no.
It's such a
There
beautiful
is an
house.
option, I guess we never talked about this, but there is an option just to buy it for 50 and literally like close it up tight. Do a minimum repair and then just see what happens in the next few years. I mean, that is an option, right?
Because once
To
it's gone, it's gone.
fix some windows and fix the roofs and,
Why can't we buy it for 50 grand and, like you said, and then put it up for sale and
Because the contingency has
Yeah.
always been you have to move it.
That, and that's
What
part
if
of
we
the-
did that? What if we
well,
bought it and said, but it can stay here now?
Part of the other thing with the contingency on the purchase was they were very specific that the reason why they're willing to sell it to the DDA is because they want it to be some sort of professional establishment.
Oh,
They
okay.
don't want it to be a vape shop. They don't want it to be something that doesn't fit. It needs to be some
Another
sort of
hairdresser
professional.
But if we buy it and set on it like that, why can't we set the grounds for whoever else decides that they wanna buy it?
Because then they wouldn't agree. I mean,
You're just limited your,
they're, I
just
think,
limiting your,
I think they have more power to
Options.
fight.
I think it's
if
better
we
than tearing
don't-
it down.
Right.
I think they'd make more money if they gave it to us for free and wrote it off on taxes.
So that's another option you could ask them, but
well,
then
we
they wanna
did-
move it.
We met
The
with
bottom
them.
line is 50 grand.
This is what we were taking.
well, my question is to Hans. I was hoping somebody would be here tonight from Hans Financials. They're putting millions of dollars into Detroit. It's on the news. I don't remember the number, but I want to say they just put $12 million into the city of Detroit rehabbing some homes. So ask Hans, well, you buy a lot in Romeo, then move it
What
and
about-
rehab it
But
for
what
Romeo.
they're
You-
doing is
they
they're
have-
not rehabbing the houses, they're tearing everything down and turning it into farmland until Detroit comes back around and then they're gonna sell it and make money off of it,
It's
off
a
the
financial
property.
move, it's not a generosity.
They're not doing it out of
Okay.
the kindness of their
But
heart.
I don't know if anyone's actually talked to John Hans or not.
I
personally.
tried, I couldn't get to it.
I mean,
I think
I'm with you, Mike, I don't want to see the house go. 'cause
It's a nice house.
Well, this
I
conversation should have
agree.
taken,
I agree
This
with that.
conversation's been held 100 times.
We're-
today.
should
I
have
agree
been taken
100%.
12 years ago.
But I'm not willing to
It's finally come
spend
to a head and we're.
hard-earned
What
Romeo
about,
tax
what about where the old
dollars. saving it.
what do you call it? The public place that used to be on Sisson Street, what was that called?
The DPW used to be?
What about that property? Could you take that house and move it over there?
Do we still own that property?
I think so. You guys, it's a vacant lot.
Oh, next to the
Next to Glenn's.
condos by Glenn's Garage?
Yes.
The only thing-
I don't know if we still own
But
that.
again, we gotta have,
But wouldn't that house
We'd
look
be
out
right
of
back
place
where you're
there?
at.
Yeah, again, I'm not spending the money.
Right.
I'm not spending.
What's that, Mike?
Wouldn't it kind of look out of place there?
it'd be better than gone.
But where's
rather-
that, I mean, over there, it's all new over there. Why would it- I mean,
It would.
Take it to the village and let the people come and speak at the village meeting and say, yes, they want their tax dollars to go to it, or no, they don't.
We gotta have a plan though. I mean, like we say, everybody's sat on their hands for 12 years.
And so I tend to agree with Tad, it's probably closer to 300 and you're said and done.
Easily.
You know, now,
And
one
we
of the
have
plans would
maintenance, we
be
have to do
to,
sidewalks.
Yeah, one of the plans would be to see if people wanted to chip in and do a cheaper job and get a banner put up on the side of the house, roof compliments of X, and, you know, try to bring our numbers down, but
We can't
we
count on
can't
that.
count on
Can't
that.
count.
We have to,
And we can't count on the, sorry, Zach, we can't count on the village, you know, sticking with us for 5 years. We need it up front, because they'll change their mind, and then
So you want them to give
we're,
you the money in full
and then we,
into the DDA account?
right, then we make, for the home, not for Christmas
Yes,
lights or,
yes.
it's earmarked for
Can't steal
that.
it, yeah. Okay.
but that way we can hire a general contractor, we can get it done. If we're piecemealing it,
And let's not forget too, our current staff is only in 1 day a week. That's all we have allotted for in the budget. Is this project gonna take a lot more than that? Absolutely. So we're gonna have to stretch our budget too to cover, whether it's Lisa or somebody else taking this on, because, I mean, we all have other things going where we can't, I don't think anybody else can fully commit to taking on that project and being the one to maintain it. I would rather overshoot and give a check back to the village at the end of the day than to say, give us $100,000 now and we'll come back to you a year from now and need another 100. That's just my opinion.
because you would want to wrap the project up. And especially the external part, you'd want the roof done, the paint, you'd want it done by end of summer.
Are we looking to pay them back at all, any of it? Are we asking for them to front it and we give them back half as we make our money back? Are we
No,
gonna do
give
any?
them money,
We're
give
gonna
money
ask for
back
it
to the
in-
village?
Yes.
Isn't there some vacant property still in the village somewhere? That was condemned and you tore it down and the village took over because they didn't pay their taxes? Is there some vacant lots?
Yeah, we sold the Mussey Street property, there's the woods on First Street.
But you would still,
That ain't for sale though.
What about the church lot across the street from your
No, which one, I'm sorry, which one?
when they already tore our house down, they want to put another old one right back?
house?
Corner of Church and Bailey.
Though.
Huh? Yeah,
That's an empty corner, and those houses are out there.
Uh,
They-
I'm
they-
assuming the church wanted that.
they got parking lot plans too.
I don't see what, that,
I don't know, I don't want to see it gone.
it's just a thought.
Well, we had a,
I agree. I mean, I don't wanna see it gone either, but I'm,
those houses on Bailey Street between the car wash and the parking lot are not even in the same realm as this one as far as historical significance goes.
no, they're
No,
not,
they can still
exactly. That's
be-
why I have no problem tearing them down and
So
making
they,
more
you say
parking
there's
for
5 that
future-
should be torn down, this one is not comparable to those,
No,
you know. so
no, it's not, but it's gonna go. I mean, it's gonna go.
Well, it doesn't have to go.
There's,
I mean, it doesn't have to go, I agree with Ted.
there's
They waited
two
12
on
years on
East
this, but-
Lafayette that need to go. There's those two next to the parking lot. There's one on Hollister Street. There's one on Croswell Street. I may be missing a couple, but other than that, that's
But how
about
many
it.
And
are-
that's not, but that's not the one those aren't the ones we're
Right.
talking about, because this is one that basically, it sounds like if we don't step in, it's gone. That's it.
We can't,
I don't think
those
it's gonna-
houses aren't in our district, we can't help
Do I
them.
wanna see it gone? No,
Right,
I
that's
don't wanna
true.
see it gone, but is it gonna affect our historical situation or historical significance? No, I don't think so that either.
But it's not
We
gonna
can
help
say
it
that
either.
about everything until all of a sudden all of it's gone.
I'm all for we're at a really weird point where we do need progress and we need to maintain
And this-
some historical integrity, and it's just
The
figuring
funeral-
out.
I think that's,
the
I
fact
think
that-
that's a perfect house for that. Where
This
it's
falls
got
in that
everything.
scope of that whole thing, we need to go back and what do we have till 2020? To go back to the
To
village, to go
update.
back update our DDA requirement or.
I mean, this could be a welcome center, it could be the DDA office, it could be the DDA office and subletted to a real estate
It
or
could
a
be
lawyer. or
a lot of
whatever.
great things, but
Upstairs.
how you
Those
gonna
are
pay for
returns.
it? How you
Those
gonna
are-
pay for it?
Those are returns on your investment. You're not gonna make it all back, Tad, there's no way. There's no way. You're not gonna recoup $300,000 by renting out a room for $300 a month. But you'd save the building, put the DDA in there, put law firm, whatever, put somebody else in there that's professional, and then just move along, and then we own the asset.
Right.
We own the asset. It's not like we're tossing $300 away, we would own the asset.
Can we mortgage it?
Not through Hans. right, I mean, she's like, no, there's no financial, and that's only just pay it, get it out of here.
So the DDA doesn't have any credit to mortgage it?
No, we could, I mean, I guess once it's
And make payments on
refinished, you could refinance it, but I don't know if we'd wanna do that, I mean, it's just.
I mean,
We could, right now, you couldn't do anything with it, I don't think, finance-wise, to get any money, it had to be done. And then maybe you go back and say, okay, we'll finance half of it, and then the DDA will pay it back. I don't wanna step into that, I'd like to just be done.
I
But
tend
it's
to agree.
it's an option. Say we got 300 into it, and we get it appraised for 250, we finance it for 150, and then the DDA makes a payment to the village for the next,
So,
seems kinda,
I mean, if we wanna save it.
yeah,
And save our historical integrity, well, I mean, what's wrong with that? Let it pay for itself.
yeah.
Do we want to vote and see if we even need to keep
well,
talking?
no, okay, so, right now, we have a
'Cause if it's
motion
a no,
by
then we need, there's no point
Siglo,
talking anymore.
second by Chaika, to reject the opportunity to purchase the property at 129 West Lafayette Street. Let's do a roll on this. Lisa?
Siglo?
Yes.
Okay, so yes is in favor of not taking it, no is in
Correct.
favor of taking it, okay.
Chaika?
Yes.
Kuznanski?
No.
Kraft?
No,
Hayes?
No.
Seidel?
No.
All right, back.
Motion.
So.
All right,
So
so,
if Hans wanted to fix that up, they would have done it in the last 12 years.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So they don't want you to fix it up anyways, and they know they got you in a catch-22.
Absolutely.
So if we said, okay, we're to give you $50,000, they might, like Tad said, they might just go the next day and,
it could happen. It could happen. There's no purchase agreement.
Right.
There's nothing in place right now stating that this is a done deal.
Right, but she did, I mean, we're going on her
Right.
word that if you guys come up with 50 grand and she said you
And-
can't let it sit.
Right, it's gotta be,
Yeah.
it's gotta be brought back. We can't sit on it for,
That's funny.
well, hey, if they're
put a
gonna.
proposal together. I mean, you guys wanna do something with it.
Well, that's something we'd have to do by the time, if we're asking the village for money, we're gonna have to have something put together for their packets to present to them, which they meet
Monday.
this upcoming Monday.
Soon,
So,
it's second this.
that's,
I mean, I think it's just a paragraph that basically says that,
but if they're coming to us for money, if they're gonna, if anybody came to us with money, we'd be
paragraph?
asking what
Well,
the breakdown is, so they're gonna want the same thing from
Yeah.
us.
I don't know what else we would do, right? We take a sheet with some numbers on it, I mean,
No, you're right,
But as
it doesn't have to be
Ed said, what is the
lengthy,
plan,
but,
what's the end goal here? If
right.
we're renting it, give me some comps of what rent is going for. Are, upstairs, is that an apartment, is that more office space?
I
Which
agree-
goes
I
for
agree
more?
with Megan.
I want to know.
The public building gotta have an elevator.
Hmm?
Add that in your cost.
We have to have an elevator?
Yeah.
well,
be
if it's
handicap accessible.
historical,
The chamber,
It's gotta
isn't
be
it?
amenable,
put a
that's not a
ramp.
public building.
They put a ramp up the back.
What about the village
well, what's the
office?
definition of, it's not a public
That is-
building if you
It's
rent
a-
it.
DDA is a government entity.
Well,
But
the
it's a
government owns
historical
the
building.
DDA's in the upstairs of the building now.
That's where we chose to rent from. We don't own the building. Chamber of Commerce owns the building, which is, or the actual,
Is there an
it's
elevator in
owned,
your
it's,
building?
it's owned by a
Village
private,
offices?
no, but nobody goes upstairs. That's why the meetings aren't up there anymore. It's exactly why the meetings aren't up
That's
So
there.
why
you
we
don't
don't
have
have
any
them there.
meetings upstairs then, you
Right,
don't use
first
the
floor
upstairs.
office space.
First floor office space and upstairs is storage
An
or
apartment. I don't
DDA
know.
records or.
The code has, to bring it up to date, the code, there would have to be handicap access to the upstairs. If you're gonna rent that out.
even if it's a historical building.
I put many elevators in many historical buildings in my career.
Okay. Well, I don't know what the thing is. I remember before they would say if you're only doing less than 50%.
One of the reasons we don't hold
Alley.
concerts at the Masonic Temple is because we don't have an elevator upstairs.
Really?
It's the biggest biggest fundraiser we're trying to do is get an elevator so we can hold concerts in the old opera house and plays and whatever else. That's why when we go to concerts, they're always downstairs. We'd love to have them upstairs.
What's an elevator cost?
30 to 80, 90, 100,000.
Throw it
More
in
than we
the mix. But, okay, so
One
bottom line.
floor, not much.
everything-
You'd have to go to you'd want to go to the basement too, just for, if you're gonna put it in, you might as well put it in,
Do it the whole 9 yards.
you know, so you can put stuff downstairs, but,
We'll have
I'm
Lisa.
guessing
If we
40
get
to
to that
50 grand.
What's the
specs
specs on the elevator?
We'll have to look at, well, I mean, everything would be done up to code. If
Then
that's what
you-
code dictates, that's how we'd have to complete the project. We would not do anything that's not up to code.
That 3 you were talking about, you can probably add about $500,000 when you get done.
I don't think we're at $500,000, but
You're getting there.
and if we don't use the upstairs, I don't know if we actually have an elevator. I don't know.
So-
I'll look into it, but I'm
If the
pretty sure if
upstairs
it's
was
a
an
public building, you're
apartment,
gonna,
why- I
I'm
mean,
surprised
all
that
the downtown,
the Historical Society didn't put 3 billion flyers out. We have a building.
It wasn't advertised, I know that.
So the bank didn't even check into seeing what it would cost to redo the house?
No, they don't want
They
it.
didn't even check
no, they
into
want the
it?
parking
Nobody
spaces.
looked at it, nothing?
They don't want it. They don't want it there. I mean,
The only thing they have was the engineering report.
they don't want it. I mean, they.
500,000 sounds, or 450,000 sounds
It's
really high to me
It's
for
really
that
high.
particular house.
so then do we need
I'm
to
not
make
saying
a
it's
motion?
450, but I think you're getting over 3.
We need to make a motion to go to the village to ask for
We have to have a dollar amount.
X amount. What is the amount?
So somebody has to make a
Three?
motion with
I'd say
the
3.
amount.
And then see where we can go, I'm sorry.
No, yeah, no, that's all right. But like I said, even if it gets, and I mentioned this to Randy, if it comes down where the village says, well, we think you can do the project for $150,000, then it comes back to this board. And I feel comfortable at $300,000, we could get the project done, but if they come back and say, we'll give you half that, come back to us with more, no, we're not gonna,
I know I asked this question once before, but I want to get the full idea of what you guys are telling me. What if we revamped it, fixed it up, and sold it to somebody to live in it,
that,
and we made a little profit off of it, if we just put it back into our fund? We
it
can't do
would,
that.
it would
Hans will not let it be.
Yeah,
I think there'd be some provisions, like
Why
you
do
were
they
saying.
care? We-
because
No,
they want.
they've said they don't want it to be.
And I'm not sure I'd
residence.
like to do that, like you said, with the people's money,
Right.
turning it into.
I mean, unless you've got 500, put 3 in and got 5 for it, that's.
Right, but at that point, you could, they don't want it to be residential.
There's no kitchen in it.
They want it to be business professional, a professional office space where it's similar businesses to what their
I got you.
core client is.
I mean, one of the options is too, is if you do purchase it and you bring the upside up to speed, a lot of companies will come in and they'll renovate the inside for reduced rent or no rent for a year or whatever. So those are some of the options you could play with.
Right.
But we got it to Zach, I think this is where Zach was headed. I'm in with at 3.
Right,
I'm not half and back out and we're stuck with a half-finished building, or
Right.
ask for us for the rest of it the next time, we promise we'll give it to you. It's like, and then we can get to work on general contractor and get some bidding going and get some things done on it, but
so what, no, go ahead.
I'm only in because I want to save the building. I don't want to be a project manager on restoring.
Yeah, and
I already did
I
that.
agree with Randy. I mean, to be honest with you, the extent of the project and what it is for a board that consists mostly of volunteers, it's a huge undertaking. I mean, this is way outside of the scope of work that we're used to here,
Are we
and,
gonna throw in any money?
what's that?
Are we gonna throw in any money?
I don't think so.
I mean, maybe, let's say we get to it and we're at 3:30, then we'd have to make a decision whether we want to throw in 30 of ours or not, but, I mean, that,
It's gonna be time and
Yeah.
management on Lisa's part, we're gonna have to market the building once the office space is available. We're gonna have contracts made up for leasing the space, and we go through that. There's gonna be unforeseen, issues that come up that need repairs over the years that we're gonna have to take into consideration.
that's where our money would probably go.
You know, we're gonna have to have cable, internet,
Is there mold in it? Is mold to be removed?
Mold would be removed, I mean,
There's asbestos too.
mold remediation would have to be done on the property.
I agree with Mr. Chaika. You're looking at a lot of money. I mean, I've heard horror stories of mold removal. Just for the size of a place of a closet.
Yeah, but we're on the spot right now, we have to do this today, if it's today. If
Oh,
we can wait for another till next time, and we can get more information
We could also.
before we vote.
We could.
But we already
could-
voted, but we can.
we could-
revote, right?
We could table
Whatever you guys
it.
wanna do.
We could table it if you want, but. I
Whatever you
mean,
guys wanna do, whatever number you guys come up
So,
with,
all right, so here's the thing, if we were to.
I'm out.
If we were to table this and say, we're gonna come back with hard numbers, odds are it's gonna be too late. Because if this waits for a special meeting or even next month, where Hans is gonna say, well, they want us to move this along. They want us
So
to,
who put us on the spot to make a decision this
Yeah,
quick?
who did this?
well, that was done.
when
that was
the,
done-
when the complaint was made about the house,
Well, then you, how come you did,
when the
Just-
complaint was made about the house, a letter was sent to them to fix, the repairs needed to be done. There's holes in the house, it needs to be, according to
so
our
they hired
ordinances,
this company?
Yes.
so,
Oh. And our building inspector said the same thing?
One of your board members made the complaint, right?
one of the board members made the complaint on the house, letters were sent to Heinz Financial came back to HDC again with a request for demolition.
And this back.
Bob Hart, I believe Christine and Bob brought up this idea. That's how it came about. In other words, if people are gonna complain about it, Hans is ready to tear it down.
I think we're behind the 8 ball already, too late.
Oh,
I mean, yeah, this is,
we are.
I'm not gonna be forced into buying something. You guys wanna do it, knock yourselves out,
We're
I will
not-
have no part of it.
Right. I don't wanna be forced into buying anything either.
Well, that's what
But I
that's
also-
what we're doing.
But I also don't wanna be like, well, the DDA said, screw it, we're not gonna mess with it.
right.
I mean,
Bottom line is there's an opportunity.
Right.
There's an opportunity where they were not willing, I don't think they were willing to sell it to anybody else. They were not putting it out there, it was either,
Not like this.
you move it, you
So
get rid
what's
of
the
it.
process after we say yes today? Now what's the process?
Then we
Then
gotta
it
go
goes
to
to
the
the
board.
village. Then it goes to the
So-
village board, and then they would
So
have
us
to
saying
decide
yes
at that
doesn't mean
point.
it's actually happening.
absolutely.
No,
absolutely, right.
Us saying.
So-
But I thought we
yes,
got this idea from the board.
All they
Well-
said was come back, they suggested that the DDA is a viable option for purchasing it. They just threw it in our lap.
But if we're
Simply
gonna
put,
work,
they threw it in our
but they
lap.
know that doesn't make any sense to me.
They don't wanna make the call, they want us to make the call. They don't wanna look like the bad guy. I have no problem being
So
that
if we
way
say
strong
yes,
enough.
they're gonna fund, you got,
I have
you
no
gonna fund us
problem.
the money?
No,
to do
I'm
it?
not. I'm
So-
voting, absolutely not. I will not spend one hard-earned penny of Romeo tax dollars on rehabbing this home,
So-
period.
So,
But I'm only one vote.
That's what I'm saying.
so we're sitting on this right now, the motion, I guess, that would be made is that we gotta take 300 grand to the village and then see where they go from there. And after that, if they even say yes, then it's some due diligence and starting to get some quotes and, and I don't know if at that point we go,
We have to,
whoa,
well,
I don't know, we'd be stuck.
we'd still have to make the offer to
Hans.
Hans.
Yep.
And they'd have to, like I said, there's no guarantee that even after going through all that,
That they're gonna accept
that
it.
they're gonna accept it. This is something where it got put together and it got discussed and it's now in our lap and this is what
So-
we're here for. and-
Nobody has the backbone to say no. I have the backbone to say no. If it
Oh,
turns
it's
out
not-
to be bad, I have no problem accepting the blame for it.
It's not a backbone, I want the building saved. It's not a backbone to say no, it's just, I'd like to see the building saved.
No, it's a backbone of saying, no, we're not gonna spend the money on it. That's why it got shoved in our lap. So they don't look bad to the public
Well,
on an
my-
election
If I
year.
have to be spineless and say yes, I will do that too.
Yes to what?
I will say yes, and here's the money.
So apparently there's reservations if nobody wants to say no on even, on tearing it down.
No, let's put a motion on, like, maybe let's go 3
No,
and
they
4.
won't, nobody wants it to, the HDC, to
No,
my
they-
understanding, does not want it torn down.
No, they want it to stay,
You can either
but they have no
say
money
yes.
either.
We need some,
Right.
So let's put a motion on the table, let's, I'm trying to word this, I don't know if
Yeah,
it'll come
no.
out right. Let's put a motion, we take,
Like
Even if
Tad
the motion, you
said,
can still discuss it.
Ted said it in a polite way. I'm disappointed in the Historical Society that hasn't brought something up. They should have all the connections saying, hey, listen, we put all these flyers out here, and we do have a person that will purchase this building. It might go out of Romeo, but the building will be safe.
so supposedly, that's been done, I've never seen it, but I don't know. I can't say they ever haven't.
I mean, there's,
Supposedly it's been advertised and it's been available to be moved.
I heard just heard on the street for $1 you could,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, I don't even know if that's true. I've only heard it on the street.
Oh, Lisa said that.
She said, yeah, so
she said that.
basically at first it was $1 and you cover the cost of moving, then it was $1 and we'll pay for half of what it costs to move it. They just wanted it gone. I mean, that's it. And from a business standpoint, I get it. They want parking for their customers. I can't fault them for that at all. But there's some historical value to the house that happens to be there. It's,
I mean, it doesn't create that many more parking spaces if
No.
you tear it down.
would give them,
Maybe another 6.
4, 6.
and I think, I don't.
Alright,
So it's worth more to me to keep it
so,
instead of making it into 6 parking spaces or whatever it is.
so what if we put a motion on that basically says if the village gives us 3 1/4 up front, the DDA will agree to take on the project and return anything under the 3 1/4 that's spent.
Because we could still crowdfund, we could still do.
We
I
can
don't-
try
I
all
don't
kinds
wanna-
of things, but there's no guarantees on
Right.
anything,
No, there's
so.
not guaranteed.
So
but
the
that would
motion
give
or
us-
the, whatever you wanna call it, the motion on the table, let's go to the board, ask for
I
3
would have preferred to
1/4.
do that beforehand, but we don't have the time
Yeah.
for that.
Right.
So go to the board, ask for 3 1/4 to purchase and renovate the home. Anything under that, we would discuss with the village and return. Yeah, there's only what's left under it.
And I would ask, I guess, at that point, if that motion passes, with that meeting being on Monday, I guess I would just ask that anybody who's in support of it would go just to show
Well, on
board
the board, and I want to
support.
know what the residents have to say too.
Well, it's gonna take some getting the word out to, but I mean, and Megan makes a valid point. I mean, maybe people in the village wanna see it torn down. We can't speak for everybody, you know.
You were well, you weren't. I was elected to speak for them. So was Megan.
Speak for them, but speak for what they want too. I don't want to make decisions in lieu of their voice. I want to know what they want.
Right, no one's asked. I mean, everybody I talk
Well,
to
every
wants to
decision
save
can't
it,
be-
but no one's opening up their wallet and handing us 50 grand to renovate the
Yeah,
road.
they all say they
Right,
want
right,
it, let's keep it, but
Right, but it's got historical significance, it's in the DDA district, it's next to the, you know.
So, did you make the motion?
Yeah, I'm almost
So-
halfway through one, is it?
We have a motion by Seidel to go to the village board to request $325,000 for the purchase and renovation of 129 West Lafayette Street. Do I have a second?
I saw.
Second by Kraft. Lisa, or any, we can still discuss.
I was thinking, Randy, you know where you live, behind you, they tore that house down on Minot Street?
That's way up there.
Yeah.
There's actually a house on it now, the guy built that barn and lives upstairs in it, so I think it's technically a residence. So it's not an empty lot. That was somebody that died.
There's a lot next to Eric's house
That's
on Turner Street.
yeah.
Doesn't
Got a
Wickham
lot
own
next
a
to
lot?
mine.
I don't know who owns it.
Doesn't Wickham own a lot?
Or it does
over
own
there
that?
by the other car wash? Right on the
No.
corner.
Oh, I don't know if he owns that property.
It's not
Yeah.
Wickham's property?
No,
No, it's not.
Got a car wash there.
they just sold it to a guy like 2
Oh,
years
it did.
ago.
That house, but
But
the,
Wickham never owned that property.
Does that belong to DTE or
That's the
DTE?
other side.
But it's an empty
I
lot.
thought they owned the flip side of both sides of the street. Whitcomb would know.
There's lots, but they all cost the same. You're
I
looking
got
at
one next to me.
the one on Benjamin, they want, I think, 180, he's gonna ask,
For a lot?
once he tears down the house. that
Oh,
one.
from the fire?
Mhm.
You can ask anything you want.
Yeah.
Ted's got a lot he can say.
Speaking of asking anything you want. All right, let's,
Lisa, can you do a roll?
Yes. Seidel,
yes.
Kraft,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Kuznanski,
Yes.
Chaika,
All we're doing is asking the village for the $350 or $25,000.
Correct.
Yes.
That's $325,000.
We got nothing to lose, yes?
Not $325, but
Siglo.
No.
Motion carries.
All right, so the meeting, so Lisa, we're gonna have to request that it be added to the agenda for the village board. What's the date on that? The 12th?
The 12th.
Monday, the 12th, so if anybody can attend, if they want to. I guess I should probably go.
Park will be back in town to see what local comps are.
He would be a good person to have here today.
He would have chewed
Yeah.
your guys up one side and down the other if we're even thinking about it.
He's gonna say, look what happens when I leave.
Well, it's throwing it back at the villages. At the village.
Yeah, you did throw it back in the village laps, they threw it on your lap,
So
so.
they threw it in our lap.
All right,
What we say, the meeting's at 12?
the 12th, it's 7 o'clock, same place. All right, board member comments.
No, I'm not allowing it. Just kidding.
Ted.
I'm good.
Megan. Randy. Mike. President Siglo.
Just like to thank Lisa and Amy for all their hard work with the banners and just everybody's hard work, whether we agree, disagree, it doesn't mean I don't appreciate you. You know, I just, thanks for being here.
It's good to have a discussion.
Yeah.
The DPW.
DPW says
That's it for me.
Lisa, anything to add?
no.
I got nothing. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Poznanski,
Second.
second by Siglo, all in favor? Aye. Thanks, guys.
Just put it in at 8 a.m.